with sponsorship from Enbridge. We're here for the 5th session of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention over on St. Paul campus. I'm Morgan Krause.
And my name is Ethan Dado. This morning we are excited, right, Minnesota FFA? So we're excited for our 5th general session of the 90th FFA Convention. This morning in our pre-session show, we get to hear from our state vice president, Mr. Keegan Zimmerman, meet a foundation board member and Minnesota Farm Bureau president, Mr. Kevin Papp, and finally meet one of our star and egg placement winners. So this morning's guest is no stranger to FFA or this stage, as we're now in our 5th session. So first of all, Keegan, welcome to the show. How have the past 2 days been for you?
Thank you for having me on the show. The past 2 days have been fantastic. It's gone by really, really quickly. As an FFA member coming here, it always seemed to go fast, and now being here, being up on stage, interacting with everybody, it's just flown by, but it's been an amazing time.
That's great. I mean, we have all loved watching your team on stage, but there's so much happening that's not on stage. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so on stage, we have the opportunity to recognize so many students that have amazing projects, amazing talents and skills, and are doing well in their competitions. But behind the stage, there's also so many other students that are showing off what they can do. There's Courtesy Corps that's running around kind of being the eyes, ears, and hands of convention, and they really put in a lot of work. And so many volunteers that help out here at convention that me and my team are definitely appreciative of. We could not pull this off without all of the adult supporters and sponsors and helpers and volunteers that come and help make convention possible. So we're amazed at everything that goes on behind stage that really comes together so that everybody can have an awesome time here.
Yeah, it really does take a huge team to put the state convention together and make it flow the way it does. But speaking of the flow, there's a lot of FFA members in here this morning, but there's some elsewhere. What else is happening right now here at our state convention?
So yeah, here we have the opportunity to recognize a lot of students that are doing Agriscience and have done amazing things in their chapter. But elsewhere on campus this morning, there are workshops going on where students are learning those hands-on skills. I have had a couple students come and ask me where they can find workshop rooms. I know that our national officer that's here, Jordan Stowe, is putting on a workshop right now. And so students can go and learn those leadership skills that we promote in FFA and learn those hands-on skills so that we're ready to go out once we take off our blue jacket or while we're in our blue jacket and actually use those skills that we talk about. And so here at convention, just like the rest of the year in FFA, we're actually practicing what we're teaching and what we're saying. And so it's really awesome to see everything that's going on, the students that are actually learning those skills here.
Yeah, it is really great. There are some phenomenal things happening here. Yesterday, we heard you give some reflections about where it happens. Can you tell us a little bit about that for our audience members who didn't hear it and how it came to be?
Yeah, so retiring addresses are kind of interesting. This I struggled on for a long time, trying to figure out what I can share with the members of Minnesota FFA that I've been able to get to know all year long. And so I was kind of just thinking about my life and what I've gone through, and I remembered this one story about a roller coaster. Now, I like heights now, but I used to hate heights. And so the first time I went on a roller coaster, Ryan and Zach, they loved it, my little brothers, but I was so terrified. And I was thinking about that, and I wasn't living in the moment. I was thinking about the moment instead of living in it, and so I didn't really get to experience what it was all about. And so that's kind of where that speech started, is I wanted to talk about how we can think about things to such an extent that we don't actually live where we are, and then we don't really experience life. And so it was really personal to me to be able to speak about my brothers and speak about my life and share that with people that have impacted me. This blue jacket has done amazing things in my life, and that's why I love being up here. I love interacting with people and giving back to this organization. And so being able to pass that message on of living in the moment was really, really helpful for me.
I think that's a super important reminder for us, everyone here, and even our people watching at home. So thank you for sharing that with us, Keegan. Looking forward to what's happening maybe the rest of this session and the rest of the day, what can we look forward to seeing?
Yeah, so the rest of this session, like I mentioned before, we're going to be recognizing our Agriscience award winners. So agriculture is really dependent on the science. We want to feed people, we want to clothe people, we want to provide energy, and so to continue to provide those things, and especially for an increasing population, we have to have science behind us. And so these students that are going to be coming across this stage today have really demonstrated the cutting edge of science and are really working on improving agriculture. In addition, we're also recognizing a lot of chapters who have done amazing things with land of service and ag literacy and models of innovation. And so they're really pushing the boundaries of what FFA chapters can do in their communities. And then later today, we'll have the 6th and final general session of the Minnesota FFA State Convention, where we'll recognize all of our CDE and LDE award winners, and we'll hear a keynote from a very special person, and we'll finally elect a new officer team. So very exciting times today here on the final day of State Convention.
Big things are coming up today, and I'm really excited to see it all happen. What's next for you? I mean, after that final gavel drops.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a hot topic. You know, I don't want to leave this organization, but later today I'll take off my jacket, and then I'll finish off the semester. I'm not really sure what comes next. So this summer I'll be moving to Washington, D.C. for an internship.
Wow.
I'll be continuing my college studies. I myself love Agriscience, so I'll be doing some Agriscience workshops and experiences during college. But it's going to be kind of a learning curve to see what life outside of the jacket is. I've been an officer for the past 5 years, and so it's going to be interesting transitioning out of the blue jacket, but it's something that's a really important step to learn how to take the skills that I've gained in FFA and apply them outside of FFA where I'm not wearing the jacket. And so it's a transition that I will be making and potentially sharing in a few blogs with FFA members as they also make this transition. And this may be the last convention for a lot of members here, and so it's important to go from an FFA member to an FFA alumni, to stay involved, to give back to the FFA, and stay involved that way.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly important message for all of our FFA members who might be taking off their jacket for their very last time here today. But Keegan, we know that you're going places to have some great ambitions ahead of you, and so we thank you for being on the show. Mr. Keegan Zimmerman, everyone.
It is so great to have our state officers so dedicated to this convention. There are a lot of people who make this convention possible, especially our sponsors. So let's hear a quick message from them.
I am a nurse,
a firefighter,
a college student,
a mother,
and I am an American soldier.
I will always be ready
for every storm
and disaster that threatens my community.
I will always be there to protect my neighbors,
my family,
and my country.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
Visit nationalguard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Thanks to our sponsors. So as we've heard, there's a lot happening here at convention, and last night we were able to honor some of our star people within their proficiencies and within state degrees. And we have someone with us here today. I'd like to welcome our next guest, Emma from the Hutchinson FFA chapter. How are you?
I'm doing great. This has been quite the experience to be here at this convention.
Great. So Emma, can you tell us a little bit more about your project and what led to the state star and egg placement win?
So I started my SAE my freshman year of high school. I have been working on a dairy farm since 2012. It's just a small dairy farm, Raylor Farm in Hutchinson, Minnesota. We milk 55 cows. My advisor had mentioned faintly about this STAR award that you can apply for when you get your state degree. So I had it floating in the back of my mind, but I wasn't really sure what exactly it was or what I was going to be doing. And then last year, he reminded me about this. So I had been keeping records for the past 4 years of my SAE and everything I had been doing. And then last year, we started the application and straightening out financial stuff, what I would be writing in the goals and accomplishments, and all of the other things that I needed to be putting in my application to make it this far.
That's crazy. So last night, you're on stage. There's thousands of people in the crowd. The lights are shining down on you. Can you describe that moment when your name was called out?
I was very shooken. I was standing there, and they said Region 5, and I kind of just fell forward because I was so excited and happy, and I couldn't really believe what was happening. It was, as a younger student, sitting in the crowd watching the other STAR applicants having their videos on the big screen, and they were talking. I always dreamt of being able to do the same thing, but I never really thought that I could make it that far, and I did.
Well, that's pretty incredible. So that's the goal, the accomplishment. But what were some of those smaller goals that you had set earlier in your SAE project that helped you make it there?
Sometimes it's the littlest things, like time management. You don't really think about what you're doing in the moment. I always dream and wish that I could have 28 hours in a day and 8 days a week so that I could just get everything done that I need to. So through my SAE, I really focused on being able to have those time management skills to lay out my work properly and make sure that I can get everything that I need to get done.
Those are great kind of soft skills that you gain through this experience. You're obviously very accomplished in what you're doing. How has this experience helped you with your future?
So in the future here, I'll be attending SDSU for a major in dairy production. If it weren't for FFA and it weren't for the dairy farm accepting me into their family and work for them, I never really would have known what I would be doing. I never would have joined dairy judging because I never knew about dairy. So to be able to have been welcomed into that farm and my advisors helping me along the way, it really laid out my future and what my focus and interests were, and that was dairy.
So Emma, you've mentioned your advisor, you've mentioned this farmer that you've worked with. They often say it takes a village to raise a child and to raise your SAE. So are there some people that you might want to take this time, this platform, to give some special shout outs to?
Yeah, so my employer is Lauren Olson from Hutchinson. Him and his family, Laura, all of their kids have really helped form and shape me into the person that I am. My parents, Wayne and Terry Freoff, if it weren't for my dad, Wayne, bringing me to the farm, I never would have been able to meet Lauren and his family. And my advisors, Scott Marshall and Steve Lammers, if it weren't for them telling me about the STAR application, I never would have been able to apply for it or been pushed along to make it.
That's so incredible to have those mentors and really lifelong mentors at this point. Besides for your SAE, what else have you done within the FFA?
For my chapter, I have served as several different officer positions. Currently, I'm the student advisor, which has really opened up my eyes to the really big aspect of FFA and how much it really does mean to so many students, and not just Minnesota, in the whole country. I also help with little things that we do. We put on petting zoos, Farm Products and Safety Day. We do a fundraiser, so just a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. Well, they say finish lines are often new start lines, and we know that this is a new start line for the rest of your career in the dairy industry, and so we wish you the best as you continue those endeavors. So everyone please help me in congratulating one final time the 2019 Star in Agricultural Placement, Miss Emma.
Thank you.
It's so cool to hear stories like that and to just see how much joy that brings to our FFA students and how far they'll go in life. A lot of this, as we've mentioned, comes to convention. All of this is possible because of the people who invest into us, just like people have invested into Emma. So let's take another minute to hear from our sponsors who have invested in this convention.
I am a nurse,
A firefighter.
A college student.
A mother.
The toughest truck in the Northland is back for a limited time. Don't miss the Northland Edition F-150, America's best-selling truck 42 years straight. It's got best-in-class towing and payload, also best-in-class horsepower, plus other smart features to tackle whatever the Northland throws your way. Don't miss your chance to get a 2019 Northland Edition F-150. Get over $11,000 total savings plus $750 Northland cash or 0 for 72 financing on F-150 at your local Northland Ford dealer.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life.
Class horsepower.
Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Both with his time and treasures, Mr. Kevin Papp has given so much to our Minnesota FFA organization. And first of all, we'd just like to thank you for that continued commitment to growing our future leaders. So, Mr. Papp, why do you continue to invest the way you do in Minnesota FFA?
Well, I think that's a real easy answer. It's a two-word answer. It works. You know, we've seen firsthand of those that have been in FFA. That is tomorrow's not only workforce in agriculture and in our communities, but it's the leaders. And it's so important to be involved. I mean, there's a reason with Minnesota Farm Bureau why we have the FFA flag and the 4-H flag in our boardroom. It's to remind us at every meeting how important that next generation of not necessarily agriculture leaders, but also community leaders.
As president of Minnesota Farm Bureau, what does the relationship between Farm Bureau and Minnesota FFA look like?
Well, the relationship is very similar. You know, we just celebrated our 100th annual meeting. Here we're at the 90th. Farm Bureau has local, we have state and national. We're organized in 78 different counties in Minnesota, all 50 states. And Puerto Rico has a state Farm Bureau, and then we have the American Farm Bureau. So it's very similar. And we work together on all levels, whether it's at local level, doing events with the chapters. And if you're one of those chapters out there that don't know who your county Farm Bureau leaders are, I'd ask some questions because, quite frankly, they've got some resources to help partner to do things. We do a lot on the state in Minnesota. When I was elected president, we made the decision to have every FFA chapter in the state complimentary Farm Bureau membership. So you had access to our public policy information, our advocacy, but also the image and leadership materials. And then nationally, we work a lot with the National FFA.
That's incredible. So you mentioned some about the partnership between Farm Bureau and FFA. What have you seen some local chapters doing with some local farm bureaus that have helped with agricultural literacy or other components that we stand for in both of these platforms?
Well, we see a lot of different counties working very closely together on different things. Maybe it's a food shelf event or a shopping spree, a farm safety day camp or something like that. You know, what we have in Farm Bureau in a lot of the counties are some resources, some dollars to reinvest in the community. But sometimes we don't necessarily have the workforce or enough people to do the entire project. What FFA has is a lot of labor, a lot of very passionate people, but not always the resources. And what we can do is we can combine those and maybe help out with that. It's kind of like Day on the Hill. We see a lot of FFA chapters coming to one of our 4 Farm Bureau Days on the Hill because we can help provide that bus, that transportation to make it. So it's just a natural synergy between Farm Bureau and FFA.
It really is. I know when I was in FFA, our local Farm Bureau was a big part of the work that we did at a chapter level. What was your journey to joining Farm Bureau, and how has being involved in agriculture helped you with that?
Well, I think one of the things I want to make sure everybody understands here today in agriculture, no matter what part of agriculture you are, leadership, ag business, maybe farming or ranching, things like that, we're kind of a small community, and people move around, but you stay within the family. And there's an awful lot of Farm Bureau leaders that wore the blue jacket. I'm included. And it's just interesting as you go around our board table, as you look at all the different folks. And we're going to continue to invest in that and build those relationships. One of the things that I think you need to realize, and we talk a lot when we visit with FFA leaders, you know, everybody says, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, that's not really true either. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. And that relationship needs to be two ways. That's why you see a lot of foundation supporters here at events yesterday and today. They know that not only are the folks here their next interns, their next employees, their next leaders of their companies. And that's why we see a lot of foundation folks engaged and involved, because they want to meet tomorrow's interns and tomorrow's employees.
So you mentioned all the mutual benefits that can come from the adults being connected back in. So how can our youth, our FFA members, best serve? How can we best learn? How can we best grow? What advice do you have for our FFA?
Well, the advice I'd have for the chapter leaders is make sure to get to know your county Farm Bureau folks and how we can work together. Can you help us do some things? I mean, there's a lot of counties. If you're looking for maybe a little help for a WLC trip or something on that local level, don't be afraid to ask that county Farm Bureau. But also just continue to be engaged. You know, we've got a Young Farmers and Ranchers program, 18 to 35. We do a lot of leadership conferences and things like that. We really feel Farm Bureau is a great next step after FFA. Now, I don't want to tell Keegan that he's wrong, because never do that, but he made the comment where this might be your last convention, and I don't think that's necessarily true. Maybe a last convention in a blue jacket. But somebody asked me the other day, it's like, well, how many conventions have you been to? So I looked it up for him this morning. I think since I took off my blue jacket, which is a long time ago, but it's 14 different conventions that we've been engaged in, either with Farm Bureau or different things. So continue to build those relationships and get to know those companies, those intern opportunities, and just continue to nurture that.
That's great. We know you've been such a long-time supporter of FFA in general. We just have a couple minutes left. Where do you see the future of FFA, the future of agriculture going?
Well, I think the one thing we know for sure, it's going to change. And we saw last night all the changes in FFA the last 90 years here in Minnesota and things like that. And it's going to continue to change. Quite frankly, it's going to change faster. And that change is going to be more intense. And that's just get involved, be engaged, be part of that process. You know, at Farm Bureau, we like to say, if you're not at the table, you'll be on the menu. So you need to be at the table.
That's awesome. Well, Mr. Kevin Papp, we thank you for your continued support for FFA and the continued support Farm Bureau provides our young leaders. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a great convention.
We are so thankful to have been joined by such awesome supporters, FFA members, our state officer. There's a big day coming up here at the last day of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention. Ethan, what are you most looking forward to?
You know, there are so many things that excite me about Minnesota FFA Convention. One of the coolest parts for me is watching those CDE and LDE teams, the career development events and leadership development event winners be recognized, because I know the work these students put in throughout the year, and for all of that hard work to pay off later today in those sessions is just an incredible experience to watch.
I'm really looking forward to this coming session and what's going to happen. So I'm going to turn it over, and let's get excited for this session, and let's hear it for the 5th session of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention.
Oh, oh, oh. Minnesota FFA, get on your feet for the 2018-2019 Minnesota FFA State Officers. From the Belle Plaine FFA chapter, your state sentinel, James Mathowitz. From the Pine Island FFA chapter, your state reporter, Laura Lee Eaton. From the Piers FFA chapter, your state treasurer, Adam Kroll. From the Randolph FFA chapter, your state secretary, Laura Church. From the Red Rock Central FFA chapter, your state vice president, Keegan Zimmerman. From the Randolph FFA chapter, your state president, Grace Taylor.
The session hall will come to order. We are now holding the 5th General Session of the 90th Minnesota FFA State Convention. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the Emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice to you is based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom could accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
I'm pleased to announce that at the 5th General Session of the 90th Minnesota FFA State Convention, there are 3,936 members and guests present. Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare the 5th General Session of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matter which may properly be presented. Good morning, Minnesota FFA. I hope each of us had found an opportunity to renew excitement for something old or to pursue something new during our time here at convention. Here this morning to help us celebrate Minnesota FFA are two music lovers. One enjoys playing all sorts of instruments while the other loves jamming along to anything on the radio. Apart from loving music, they both share a passion for agriculture and helping students succeed. Please welcome my friends, the Dakota Duo, your state reporter Laura Lee Eaton, and your state treasurer Adam Kroll.
Good morning. This session, we're going to be rocking out as we celebrate these students who have reached above the horizon in all that they do. We will hear greetings from the University of Minnesota's College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences Dean, Dr. Brian Boer. We will also hear the retiring address of our state sentinel, James Mathewitz. Finally, we will hear from the winners of Models of Innovation and Agriscience Fair. Let's see what these students have aspired to be.
We may have some rock star members, but that would not be possible without our grand old hits. Our advisors. Whether they are encouraging us to try new CDEs or helping us through everyday challenges, our advisors are always guiding students to the beat of success. One example of this dedication is representing their region on our adult board. Here today, we are recognizing our Region 7 retiring board member, an acting advisor, an agricultural educator from the Belle Plaine FFA chapter, representing Region 7, Mr. Bruce Mathewitz. Although I would never be able to get a record deal from anyone, Adam and I and the Minnesota FFA Foundation have found a group of individuals that march to the beat of our drum. They so graciously sponsored this session. We would not be able to host this session without the support of our sponsor. Today's session sponsor is the Minnesota Soybean Promotion and Research Council. Our representative from the Minnesota Soybean Promotion and Research Council was a longtime friend of the Minnesota FFA. He has served as the 2015-2016 state officer, is a graduate from South Dakota State University, and now serves as a regional project manager for Minnesota Soybean. He works with farmers every day to promote and educate communities on the impact of the soybean industry and soybean checkoff program. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sam Johnson.
Good morning, everyone. It is great to be back here at convention. It's so exciting to see so many blue jackets, even more than the years before. As she mentioned, I'm here on behalf of Minnesota Soybean, and what we do is we work with over 27,000 soybean farmers across the state of Minnesota to invest their checkoff dollars wisely in programs to increase the demand for the soybean market. I know that right now we can all attest that the agriculture market is a little challenging, but the reason we sponsor this here today is because we see you as the future of agriculture. Whether that be being a farmer yourself or innovating something new into the agriculture industry, we know that you are the people to really kind of move our agriculture industry forward. And whether you go into agriculture or not, the impact you'll make in whatever industry you happen to go into. Minnesota Soybean has been a longtime sponsor of Minnesota FFA, and the reason is because we believe in you. Actually, all of our dollars that are put towards programs like this is a decision made by our farmers. So our farmers are the ones who invested in you because they see the impact that you're making in their local communities as well. No matter what it be that you go into after the FFA program, we're all confident that you're going to make an impact and you're going to revolutionize the industry that you go into. We know that the FFA program is not only crucial to our local region and state, it's crucial to the home schools that you're in as well. As an FFA member myself for many years, I loved the experience of being here at convention, and I know that it's only the last day, but it's also the last time that you might be able to see some of these individuals until you might return here later. So be sure to make the last few hours here one to remember and one to make a difference about, and maybe reach out to that student that you haven't met yet that you thought about talking with a little bit more. So no matter what it be in the last few hours here at convention, I hope you enjoy everything that you're doing, and congratulations to all of you who have competed and been present here at convention in all the great things that you're going to do after the Blue Jacket as well. So again, thank you, and we're super excited to be here to support you in your efforts after the FFA program and here at convention as well.
Thank you, Sam, for being here today with all of our members. We think it's such a big responsibility to support our FFA members, and we cannot thank you enough. Accept this token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences, otherwise known as CFANS, has great support here at the University of Minnesota, and we are thankful to call CFANS a longtime supporter of the Minnesota FFA. Although our next speaker grew up in Iowa, we are happy to claim him as a Minnesota Golden Gopher with over 20 years of experience here at the University of Minnesota. Now serving as the Dean of College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences, we have the pleasure of working with our speaker on multiple occasions and experiencing his support of the Minnesota FFA. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Brian Boer.
Thank you for the introduction, Adam. And although Adam went to a Dakota school, since you're going to use the "since I was from Iowa" thing, and of course, Laura Lee, good for you, congratulations. You should be Gophers. Well, welcome everyone. You're welcome anytime. Well, welcome everyone to the University of Minnesota and what I consider to be the main campus of the University of Minnesota here in St. Paul. I'm delighted to see you all. I wish I could generate the energy of the state officers as they come in here, but it's just not going to happen with me today. But I do want to, I love this, this title that you have today, Aspire to Be. And I was thinking about that, and as I look at this crowd and the young people here, I'm going to go back a bit in history. And St. Paul, the University of Minnesota, has a tremendous history of generating leaders and aspiring to be the very best in agriculture. How many of you have seen the statue of Norman Borlaug while you're here? Nobody? Come on, how many of you have seen the statue of Norman Borlaug? Really? Okay. Anybody heard of Norman Borlaug? A few. Okay. Norman Borlaug, there's a statue of him up on our campus here, up at the hill just to the north, so walk up there. It's actually the only agriculturalist in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. The statue that's up there is a same statue of the Rotunda, which every state gets only 2 people they can have there. In Minnesota, Norman Borlaug is one of those. He won the Nobel Prize, the President's Gold Medal of Freedom, and of only a couple of people to win those 2 prizes together. So we talk a lot about Dr. Borlaug here. He's credited with saving 1 billion lives through his research in stem rust and wheat varieties, developing new varieties of wheat for higher productivity agriculture. So those are the kinds of alums and aspirations we aspire to. But I go back again to that. Before Norman Borlaug, which we often forget, was a young woman from Canada, and her name is Margaret Newman. Anybody heard of Margaret Newman? At least I got one hand for it. I don't expect to get anybody to have heard of Margaret Newman. She was a Canadian person. She wanted to go to school. She chose to go to the MacDonald University in Canada, and she was the first female in Canada. This was 1914 actually when she was there. First female person in Canada to go to an agricultural school. She decided after 4 years she wanted to study. In Canada they were having wheat failures, similar to crop diseases we have here in the U.S. She decided she wanted to come to St. Paul campus, University of Minnesota. She, like Dr. Borlaug, she had a difficult time raising money. She was aspiring to solve those challenges in Canada. She found a way to work with another person in Canada to come here, and then she received her degree in 1922. She went on to save Canada's wheat crop in the 1920s, late 1920s. They had a rust outbreak. She had developed the different tests for different kinds of rust and figured out how you could plant different varieties of wheat to get rid of that rust. She went on to win the Canadian Royal Society for Science, which is the highest honor Canada gives. She became an outstanding alumni award winner at the University of Minnesota. She aspired to be somebody who was special and have an impact in the world. And so that's what we aspire to here at the University of Minnesota. We're delighted to have you all here. But across, we now have, for example, in our programs, we have 60% of our undergraduates are women undergraduates now here at the University of Minnesota studying here, and studying across a broad array of our programs. And we've been tremendously honored to have people attend. Some of you will come here, you'll achieve great things, you'll aspire to be who you want to be. It might not be a straight path, but we certainly wish you well along that path. You are, as so many people have said here today, the future of agriculture in the world. So aspire greatly. You can do great things. You can literally, we on this campus recognize you can literally save the world through food and agriculture. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate your participation and hope you've had a really enjoyable stay here on campus. And remember, not Dakota, Minnesota.
Dr. Brewer, thank you for being with us today and for welcoming the students of Minnesota FFA onto the campuses of St. Paul and Minneapolis. We appreciate all the support that you have. This fall, Dr. Brewer received his honorary American degree. He was unable to attend, but we wanted to share the moment with him today. Congratulations on your honorary American degree.
Now introducing the Dakota Recorder Duo Band, making their world premiere with Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Thank you very much. We'll be here all morning. Mary Had a Little Lamb has probably reached our ears at some point before today. Maybe not quite like that. But just like the far reach of that song, our next event is named after a man who has touched the lives of many students and agriculturalists. He has been a supporter of young scientists for more than 30 years through the Roland Peterson Agriculture Education Science Fair. From animal biotechnology to wildlife management, FFA members are able to design and carry out their very own Agriscience experiments through this event. Dr. Roland Peterson began the University of Minnesota Agriculture Education Science Fair 31 years ago. He is so dedicated that he is unable to join us today because he is judging an event right now. Let's thank him anyway for his 31 years of service. Let's welcome our first set of Agriscience Fair winners. Animal Systems and Environmental and Natural Resource Systems. In the Animal Systems category, Division 1. In third place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sundberg FFA chapter, Matthew Lingbeck. In second place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Rosie Mickelson. The state winner, with the project titled, Does My Engineered Mat Clean More Bacteria of a Dog's Paw Than My Dog Walking Around the House? From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Reed Ellis Kramer. Reed tested if the engineered mat would clean bacteria off a dog's paw. He swabbed and grew bacteria, then counted the colonies. Congratulations, Reed. Division 3. In third place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sundberg FFA chapter, Cadence Larson. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sundberg FFA chapter, Ben Clark. The state winner, with the project titled Genomic Accuracy, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, William Earp. Dairy genomic testing is gaining use on farms, but William wondered if the information is accurate. He looked at the data and used it to verify the accuracy of the information. Congratulations, William. In Division 4, in third place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sundberg FFA chapter, Haley Nichols and Morgan Pearson. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sundberg FFA chapter, Hannah Lingbeck and Elizabeth Scari. The state winner, with the project titled Treats and Health Effects on Dogs, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Will Wallstrom and John Franke. Their experiment was to discover which healthy foods dogs like the most. Congratulations, Will and John. Division 5. In third place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Catherine Pellner. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Mark Cullens. The state winner, with their project titled Natural Milk versus Milk Balancer, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Colby Lindquist. Colby compared growth of calves on milk replacer to the growths of calves on milk. Congratulations, Colby. Division 6. In third place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Martin Medcraft and Natalie Bush. In second place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Elsie Fraybell and Jacob Kolstock. The state winner, with their project titled Maze Running Hamsters, How Food Impacts Hamster Behavior, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Sarah Rothzires and Kaylee Johnson. They designed and built a maze, then tested which treats would get the hamsters to run the maze the fastest. Congratulations, Sarah and Kaylee.
In the category of Environmental Services and Natural Resource Systems, Division 1 in third place from the Hancock FFA chapter, Remington Schaefer. In second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Emma Colin. The state winner with the project titled How Do Conservation Buffers Affect Water Quality? From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Madeline Mellinger. This project demonstrated the effects of conservation buffers of water quality by creating a buffer system using vegetation to filter, access nutrients used in farming. Congratulations, Madeline. Division 3 in third place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Annika Sankey. In second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture, Nicholas Wilson. The state winner with the project titled Fertilizer versus Water from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Lindsay Christensen. This project was to study how fertilizer in runoff affects cellular ecosystems existing in Minnesota's lakes and waterways. Congratulations, Lindsay. Division 4 in second place from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Hunter Wilt and Brock Engler. The state winner with their project titled Private versus Public Bodies of Water Lead Testing from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Brett Brandemule and Bradley Wilkie. They checked to see if lead levels was different between private and public lands. Congratulations, Brett and Bradley. Division 5 in third place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Kieran Killian. In second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Zodi Peterson. The state winner with the project titled Does the Color of Your House Affect Your Energy Footprint? From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Abigail Eknes. The color of houses were tested on how well they kept the heat in lowering the energy footprint. Congratulations, Abigail. Congratulations to our Animal Systems and Environmental Systems and Natural Resource Systems winners. I found my passion for the poultry project in agriculture. I think we all know this song about poultry, and if you know it, I encourage you to dance along with me, or sing.
everyone for dancing. Just like chickens rely on corn to survive, True Friends relies on the donations made by our local FFA chapters. Every year, okay, one second, I have to catch my breath. Every year, chapters across the state hold corn drives or other fundraisers to encourage farmers and community members to donate for a good cause. These profits and events are then donated to our friends, True Friends. While we aspire to leave an impact on others through service, we know FFA members are giving campers a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Since 1953, Minnesota FFA chapters have donated over $6.5 million to True Friends. As we celebrate the 66th year of FFA chapters donating to our friends, True Friends, let's welcome Brooke Jensen.
Well, thank you for having Erin and me. Erin is our camp manager at our Camp Edenwood location in Eden Prairie. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much. As you mentioned, your corn drive donations help make it more affordable for our campers with disabilities to come to our camps. And so I know some of you don't have corn, but you might do pancake breakfast, dessert auctions, battery drives, or even give part of your fruit sale proceeds to us. And for that, I say thank you so much. But I'm going to hand it over to Erin, and she's going to talk a little bit about camp and what we do and the fun that's had and the impact that you have in making those experiences possible.
Awesome. All right, how many of you have helped raise money for True Friends? Awesome. I like you guys. I'm a camp director, so I'm kind of cheesy. And with The Last Dance, I think you guys are as well, which I appreciate. So give yourself the seal of approval, which is art, 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 art. Oh, there you go. So our campers are kids and adults who need a variety of direct support. Some of our campers may live on their own and have someone help them balance their checkbooks. And some of our campers need total assistance. And that's everything from help with personal cares to help with understanding safety and everything in between. So we serve individuals 5 to 105 in an outdoor recreational setting. And if it wasn't for people like you who care for others, we wouldn't be able to do what we do and provide the smiles and experiences that we're able to at True Friends. So we have 4 camps throughout Minnesota, always looking for amazing staff and volunteers who give their summer to our campers. How many of you at school have friends who may have a disability? Awesome, good for you, thank you. So our campers, they don't always get the same experience as you and I do. So by you raising money for them to come to camp, you're opening a whole new world, a whole new opportunity for them to experience camp and experience recreation in a different way. Everything from the high ropes course to the waterfront, day trips, to just friendships. So once again, thank you so much for what you do and making summer camp possible for our campers. So, yay!
Thank you, Erin. Thank you so much. So I just want to say real quick before I get into the awards, we have a new feature this year, and it's a website. And so it's a tool for chapters. Maybe you're interested in helping donate, or you want to fundraise online, or you don't have corn or can't do a corn drive for whatever reason. If you go to truefriends.org/FFA corn drives, it's a little mouthful, but you'll be able to fundraise online. You can make your own page. All you need is an email. Your chapter will get credited for the gift, but the donations come to True Friends. And so there it is. Yeah, so as you can see this year, you raised $143,000 and $800, which is phenomenal. So yeah, I would say clap to that. That's awesome. So I had some prize cash incentives for people or chapters and FFA students who used the website with the intent that those individuals who raised the most would be in a drawing for a gift card for $200. Unfortunately, we only had one chapter partake in the website, but I do want to honor them for that, and so hopefully next year more individuals will participate and we could give out more prizes. But I'd like to call Redwood Valley FFA for a $200 gift card. Come on down. Okay, now I'm going to go on to the awards, and we're going to honor the top 10 chapters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name, how much you raised, and I'm going to do it pretty quick so we roll through this. So if you just want to come on down, and then you just shake their hand and get the award, and we'll just kind of move pretty fast because I have a couple awards here. So top 10 chapters, we have in 10th place, Redwood Valley FFA with raising $3,763.38. 9th place, Alden Conger FFA with $4,000. 8th place, Foley FFA with $4,155. 7th place, Norwood Young America FFA with $4,532. 6th place, Buffalo Lake Hector Stewart FFA with $5,000. 5th place, Sauk Rapids Rice FFA with a new personal record, $5,655. 4th place, Dawson Boyd FFA with $5,959.82. 3rd place, New Ulm FFA with $11,657.79. 2nd place, GFW Pioneer Express FFA with another new personal record of $13,500. That was awesome. And 1st place, Randolph FFA with $16,609.59. Let's give a round of applause to our top 10. Now this year we also had 5 chapters achieve their milestone, so I want to honor them as well. And if you're already been called, you might have to come up again. But we have, what do we have here? Alden Conger reached the 150,000 milestone. Buffalo Lake Hector Stewart also reached the 150,000. GFW Pioneer Express FFA reached the $250,000 milestone. That's a lot. New Ulm reached the $125,000 milestone, and Southland FFA reached the 50,000 milestone. So let's give them a little round of applause as well. This year we had one chapter do their first corn drive and donate to us, and that was Edgerton FFA. So we have a plaque for you as well, Edgerton. And then this year, another award for GFW Pioneer Express FFA. They have the All-Star Award, which means they had the largest dollar increase from their last year's award, which was $5,300 increase, which is phenomenal. Aaron, I'm gonna need your help with this one. So, high five challenge. That basically is, we have a drawing here, but basically when you have your most recent gift, if you raised 5% or more, so it could have been from 2010 or even last year, but let's say you raised $100, and this year you raised $105 or more, you've reached that 5% and have completed the High Five Challenge. So this year the largest chapter with the biggest increase in percentage was Redwood Valley FFA. They had a 1,254% increase, or 12.5 times their most recent gift. But the chapters who all completed this challenge are put in a drawing to win a pizza party. So I'm going to have Aaron do the honors of drawing, and then I'll be in touch with your FFA advisor to coordinate the pizza party. And the winner is McCrae FFA. So I will be in touch, and you'll get a pizza party. Thank you. So I just want to say overall, thank you so much for all that you do. Like Aaron said, your support is tremendous and makes it possible for the campers with disabilities we serve. We had 53 chapters donate, as you saw, over $143,000, and that's phenomenal. And I really can't thank you enough. And if you have any questions about how you can get involved, or if you want to volunteer or be a staff member, please let me know. Thanks again.
Brooke, thank you for giving your campers a once-in-a-lifetime experience and letting us give to such an amazing program. Your continuous support with the Minnesota FFA Foundation is so appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let it grow, let it grow. You can't weep what you don't sow.
Laura Lee, what are you doing?
I am singing to my plant, duh.
Well, I don't know if that's why are you doing that?
To make it grow faster.
Well, I don't know if that's very scientific, but luckily I think we have a group that's coming up that knows all about the science of growing plants and producing food. Let's welcome our next set of Agriscience Fair winners.
In the category of food products and processing systems, Division 1 in third place from the Hancock FFA chapter, Gabrielle Joes. In second place from the Forest Lake FFA chapter, Zach Orthouse. The state winner with the project title, Do Preservatives Affect the Amount of Vitamin C in Orange Juice? From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Genesis Miranda Hernandez. She researched if preservatives really affect the amount of vitamin C's in orange juice. Congratulations, Genesis. In Division 3 from the Atwater Cosmos Grove City FFA chapter, Darren Williamson. In second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Hannah Terry. The state winner with the project titled More Bacteria for Your Book from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Alexi Landretti. Bacteria in probiotic drinks were grown on petri dishes to see which ones were most effectively grown in the environment provided. Congratulations, Alexi. Division 4 in second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Elijah Myers and Calvin Atkinson. This state winner with the project title, Does Cooking Decrease the Amount of Vitamin C and pH in Fruits and Vegetables? From the Kirkhoven Murdoch Sunberg FFA chapter, Brooke Anderson and Lauren Krieger. They tested foods that were high in vitamin C to see if cooking foods would decrease the amount of vitamin C in the food. Congratulations, Brooke and Lauren. In third place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Colin Simon. In second place from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Olivia Ellis. The state winner with the project titled, Does Sugar Content in Vegetables Increase as They Rot? From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Madeline Randall. This project determined the sugar content in vegetables as they increase as they rot. Congratulations, Madeline. The state winner with the project titled Non-Organic versus Organic from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Jaden Larson and Emily Olson. The research that was conducted to see if organic ingredients had the same flavor as non-organic ingredients. Congratulations, Jaden and Emily.
In the Plant Systems category, Division 1. In third place, from the Hancock FFA chapter, Blake Cole. In second place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Alex Harstad. The state winner with the project titled, Does Freezing Affect Germination Rates in Different Seed Types? From the Kirkhoven Murdoch Sunberg FFA chapter, Caitlin Marquardt. She compared corn, soybeans, oats, rye, and wheat germination rates that are frozen and how that changes their germination rates. Congratulations, Caitlin. Division 2, the state winner with their project titled, Can Common Household Items Be Used as Herbicides to Kill Nightshade? From the Kirkhoven Murdoch Sunberg FFA chapter, Julie Mottinger and Avery Joyce. They use common household ingredients as a herbicide to treat nightshade to see if they would be effective. Congratulations, Julia and Avery. Division 3. In third place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, David Vince. In second place, from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Katie Erickson. The state winner, with their project titled Greywater Irrigation, From the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Jed Fisher. This experiment tested the effectiveness of gray water for the irrigation of plants. Congratulations, Jed. Division 5. In third place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Shayla Casey. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunberg FFA chapter, Sarah Jeppesen. The state winner, with the project titled Growing Green, Which Type of Water Will Kill the Most Algae? From the Atwater Cosmos Grove City FFA chapter, Daniel Williamson. He grew algae in 3 different types of water to see which would grow the algae best. Daniel plans to use the algae as a feedstuff for his animals. Congratulations, Daniel. Division 6, the state winner with the project titled Seed Depths, from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Justin Boyd and Gabe Horgeshimmer. Their research looked at the different seed depths for crops. Congratulations, Justin and Gabe. Congratulations to our food products and processing systems and plant systems winners.
The transition to college is hard. You say goodbye to your friends you've known forever, and you pack up all your belongings and leave the only place you've ever called home.
Though this sounds terrifying, you do all of this with the hopes of meeting new friends and creating a new home. Meeting someone like James made this transition much easier for me. James is one of the most dedicated and kind-hearted people I know. Whether he works hard and puts his full effort into everything he does, whether it's school, FFA, or other activities.
With that, he still manages to take time to ensure everyone around him is also working to the best of their ability and will help with any way he can. We always love to hear all the stories when he returns from the events he attends through FFA and other organizations. He always talks about with such passion the work he does with the members. He will make a great ag teacher in the future, and we're both excited to support him in all his future endeavors. With that being said, it is my great honor to introduce our friend in your 2018-2019 State Senator, James Mathewitz.
Two and a half hours. I boarded the plane, sat down in my seat, reached down into my backpack, and I pulled out my laptop. I wanted to get some homework done on the flight home for all of the school that I had missed. I had noticed that the guy sitting next to me was moving around a little bit, and he kept bumping me on the shoulder and leaning over and looking at what I was doing. A few minutes later, he asked me, "What are you studying?" Little did I know that his one question would lead to an entire plane ride full of great conversation. He introduced himself as Jeff, I introduced myself as James, and we talked about a ton of different things: agriculture, politics, education, and a few other things. And let me tell you, there was very, very little, if anything, that Jeff and I actually agreed on. We started with agriculture. I answered his question of what I was studying with, I'm planning to become an agricultural education teacher because I want to teach people about their food, their fiber, and their fuel. With that, we started talking about beef production. I have no idea how it started, it just kind of happened. But as it did progress through the conversation, I said, I prefer the taste of grain-fed beef. Well, looking back, that's what I wish I would have said. I kind of said something along the lines of, I think the taste of grass-fed beef is a little bit trashy. He then looked at me and goes, oh, I prefer the taste of grass-fed beef. So me in my head goes, what did I do, what did I do, what did I do? But me in person goes, okay. And then he looks at me and goes, okay. And from there, we just continued with the conversation. I apologize for being blunt, but we continued because we realized that this conversation was bigger than any small disagreement. We continued along the path of sustainability and controversial issues within agriculture. Next up was genetically modified organisms as it pertains to food. So next, what we talked about is he said that whenever he goes to the grocery store, he looks for that little non-GMO label so he can purchase food that is non-genetically modified. You see, when I go to the grocery store, I do the same exact thing. But when I see that little sticker, I do everything in my power to avoid purchasing that product because let me tell you, there's nothing in this world that beats the delicious flavor of sustainable food. I've come to this conclusion based on the research of others and my own life experiences. With reduced pesticide use and higher yields and overall more sustainability from researchers, and from my own experiences renting cropland from my grandparents for corn and soybean production, there is very little downside to genetically or genetically modified products. Jeff was on my right-hand side, and he continued telling me why genetically modified products were bad and wrong. And I sat on his left, and instead of listening to him, I was kind of just hearing him in one ear, but kind of counting up the reasons on my hand that he was wrong. I was totally ready to just prove how wrong he was, and I was just ready to be like, done. But anyways, when he was finished, he looked at me and he goes, so James, why do you think GMOs are good? And I sat in my seat, and for the first time in a long time, I can't emphasize this enough, a very long time, I was speechless. I had absolutely nothing to say because I thought he was going to do the same thing that I was already doing. I thought that he was trying to prove me wrong, trying to tell me why genetically modified organisms were bad. But instead, he listened to me. And from that, we had a great conversation, and I learned something that day, and that is that listening is important to important conversation. If we don't listen to others, they don't feel heard, and they're not going to listen back. To reciprocate that, you have to listen so that they will listen to you. Since moving to college, one of the biggest things that I've missed is the car rides with my dad. 20 minutes to school every day, 20 minutes home, down the same roads in the same old Chevy HHR that my dad drives. Yes, I know, it's a granny mobile. Anyways, down those same roads every day, we would always talk. As we talked about almost anything you could possibly imagine. One day we were talking about politics, and it was one of my favorite discussions ever. He looked at me and he said, James, the divide between agreement and respect is wider than it's ever been before, and it's only growing. You see, we live in a time that when you agree with someone, it's easy to respect them. But when you disagree with them, it's a lot harder to respect them. Everything in this nation seems polarizing. Everything seems controversial, and everything seems to be growing in the amount of things that you can't talk about. Why is it that when we talk to other people, the way that they think changes the way that we think about them? Why does a different religion, a different thoughts on my personal favorite TV show, The Office, or even a different political view change the way we think about them? Why? You see, instead of asking, how can you possibly think that way? It doesn't make any sense. That's dumb. We need to be asking, why do you think that way? What life experiences do you have that have led you to this opinion? Instead of seeking to assume what they believe, we should seek to understand what they believe. And when we ask these hard questions, one of three things is going to happen. First, we become more solid in our answer. We become confident that we know that what our position is, what our answer is, what we believe in. Number two, we begin to become unsure. We're no longer 100% positive that our side or our beliefs are right, and we want to look into it more. Or number three, our minds become completely changed. But in all three of these situations, it's good for us. There's positive growth, because asking questions is important. Going back to the plane ride, Jeff and I at any time could have both put our earbuds back in, sat back in our seats, and ignored each other. But again, we decided that this conversation was more important. The thing is, though, We can listen all day. We can ask questions all day, but if we don't think about it, there's no point. I was once told that action without reflection is meaningless. If we don't think about what others are saying and listen to them, if we don't think about their responses to our questions, what was it all for? If we can't recognize that there's other perspectives, there was absolutely no reason to listen or ask questions. Important conversations are hard. It's not easy. But we have to be prepared for them, because let me tell you, some of the best conversations I've had have been unplanned. They're in unexpected situations. It might be at the grocery store with a consumer. You might be out to lunch with a friend, or even on an airplane with a complete stranger named Jeff. In all of these situations, it's important to remember three things. Okay, we have to listen to others. We then have to ask them questions, and then we have to think about it. And this leads to a cycle. With more listening, we want to know more, so we ask them questions, and once we ask questions to get a better perspective of what they're seeing, then we should think about it and how it applies to our own life. You see, we're not always going to agree. Disagreement is simply a part of life. But what really matters is what you do after the disagreement. You see, wielding the power of inquisition is an active choice, and it's not always an easy one. But it's crucial to our growth and development, not only as leaders, but also as individuals. So we should seek to understand instead of seeking to assume. We should seek to open our minds to new ideas and thoughts rather than closing them off and trying to block out new things. The next time you're faced with a disagreement, what's your choice? Are you going to sit back in your little bubble of comfort, put your earbuds in, and ignore the world around you? Or are you going to wield the power of inquisition to listen, ask, and think?
James, since the moment we were elected together a year ago, you have brought joy, energy, and perspective to our team. Although you seem to have taken everybody's fair share of injuries, I have you to thank for constantly encouraging me and supporting me, or pushing me to break a leg. Continue to be passionately inquisitive and to aspire always. Love, Laura, Laura Lee, Adam, Keegan, and Grace. Minnesota FFA, your 2018-2019 State Sentinel, James Mathewitz.
For the horizon, let's highlight some of our STAR FFA chapters through the Models of Innovation finalists. As a part of their recognition, each finalist chapter will receive a $100 scholarship for an FFA conference sponsored by the Minnesota FFA Foundation. Would a representative of these chapters please join me on stage for recognition? The Minnesota FFA Models of Innovation in the category of Growing Leaders. In third place, from the Deer River FFA chapter with the Minnesota Miracle. In second place, from the Howard Lake Waverly Winstead FFA chapter with their Fit Club. In first place, from the Plainview Elgin Midva FFA chapter with their Career Tech Night.
In the division of Building Communities, in third place, The Randolph FFA chapter with the removal and repurposing of their bleachers. In second place, the South Central Agriscience Academy with their nursing home, barnyard, animal day exhibits. In first place, the Thief River Falls FFA chapter with their produce donation project.
In the division of strengthening agriculture, in third place, the Chatfield FFA chapter with FFA Archery Night. In second place, the Deer River FFA chapter with their Milk Mustache Contest. In first place, the Randolph FFA chapter with weekly radio interviews. The overall winner is the Plainview Elgin Millville FFA chapter with their Career Tech Night. Congratulations to our models of innovation. Congratulations to our models of innovation. When I hear a good song on the radio, it is usually from somebody blessing me with their gift of a good voice. Although I do not have a good voice, I do have a passion for working hard, and so does the people who sing on the radio and our FFA members. We can give our time and talents to people who serve projects and be recognized through the land of service. Over the past year, chapters around the state have excelled in serving their communities too. Through personal motivation and a little encouragement from their advisors, ag teachers, or mentors, 25 chapters have logged service hours this year and gave back to their communities. These chapters have come to serve and make an impact in the lives of many people in their communities. Please stand when your chapter is called, and those participating in the Land of Service chapters were in Aiken, Brainerd, Buffalo, Detroit Lakes, Eden Valley Watkins, Foley, Forest Lake, Holly, Howard Lake, Waverly, Winstead, Jackson County Central, Leroy Ostrander, Martin County West, Malacca, Mora, Morris area, New London Spicer, New Ulm, Norwood Young America, Princeton, Red Rock Central, Rockford Middle, Sabika, Sleepy Eye, Stewartville, and Winona. Our top 3 chapters in the Land of Service Award, please send a representative forward to receive the award. The top 3 chapters are, in third place, the Howard Lake Waverly Winstead FFA chapter. In second place, Brainerd FFA. In first place, the Detroit Lakes FFA chapter.
The reason I love music so much is because someone introduced it to me. My parents signed me up for piano lessons and gave me the opportunity to experience music. Minnesota Agriculture in the Classroom understands the importance of agricultural literacy and has committed to introducing the story of agriculture to students across the state. We would like to take a moment to thank them for their sponsorship of the Agriculture Literacy Awards. Here to present from the Minnesota Ag in the Classroom is Carrie Seidel, a native of Jacksonville, Florida. She discovered her passion for agriculture education while serving as an ambassador for the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at the University of Florida. She helped open 2 new agriculture education programs at public schools, both in suburban areas, during her 6 years of teaching. Carrie and her husband Dan relocated to Minnesota in 2014, and she joined the Minnesota Ag in the Classroom team in 2016. She looks forward to supporting teachers throughout Minnesota as they look to incorporate agriculture into their academic content areas. Let's recognize these top chapters in agricultural literacy. Please stand when your chapter is called. The chapters participating in the Agriculture Literacy Awards program this year were Aitkin, Brainerd, Detroit Lakes, Eden Valley Watkins, Foley, Forest Lake, Holly, Howard Lake Waverly Winston, Jackson County Central, Martin County West, Malacca, Mora, Morris Area, New Ulm, Princeton, Red Rock Central, Rockford Middle, Sabika, Sleepy Eye, Stewartville, and Winona. And now for the top 3 chapters. Please send one representative forward when your chapter is called. The top 3 chapters reaching the most people in the community are, in 3rd place, the Detroit Lakes FFA chapter. In 2nd place, the Foley FFA chapter. And in 1st place, reaching more than 18,000 people, the Howard Lake Waverly Winstead FFA chapter. Let's give it up one more time for our agricultural literacy participants. The last award recognized chapters who are sharing the message of agriculture. The next one recognizes chapters who are preparing members for it. The first chapter award is the Triple Crown Award. This is a new honor that recognizes chapters in good standing that also has members developing their potential through leadership development and through their supervised agricultural experiences. This year we will recognize 83 chapters with the Triple Crown Award. When your chapter is listed on the screen, please rise. Congratulations to all our Triple Crown Award winners. Laura Lee, there's been so many winners. I don't know if I can keep sitting still watching all this excitement happen.
Well, Adam, what do you have in mind?
Well, I think there's a song that we know, but I think we're going to need some help from everybody.
All right, I think we can do this. All right, if you are in the audience and having a good time this session, let's hear a stomp, stomp, clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ha! Sounds oddly familiar. Let's put it to some music and we can hear you guys stomp, stomp, clap along to the beat.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise playing in the street. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you. We will rock you.
Woo! Let's give it up for that performance, let's call it. Queen is one of my favorite rock bands. I hear it almost every time I'm in a shop class. Speaking of which, let's recognize the Agriscience Fair winners, Power, Technical, and Structural Systems, and Social Systems.
In the category of Power, Structural, and Technological Systems, Division 1, in 3rd place, from the Hancock FFA chapter, Brandy Messner. In 2nd place, from the Hancock FFA chapter, Weston Knoll. The state winner, with the project titled The Effects of Brands of Degreasers on Grease, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Weston Kopopik. He tested what brands of degreasers was the best of the 4 degreasers tested. Congratulations, Weston. Division 2, the state winner with their project titled Nailed It, How Hard is Wood? From the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Julia Cullerson and Olivia Noble. They tested wood to see which was the strongest. Congratulations, Julia and Olivia. Division 3, in third place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Jake Elliott. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Charlie Hogue. The state winner, with the project titled Thrust Decibel Efficiency of Drone Propellers, from the Grand Rapids FFA chapter, Kyle Letterman. This project focused on finding the drone propeller that produced the most thrust while remaining the quietest. Congratulations, Kyle. Division 5, in third place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Jared Carlson. In second place, from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Jasper Olson. The state winner, with the project titled Filler Metal Size versus PSI, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Brad Anderson. He researched how the PSI is impacted by filler rods. Congratulations, Brad.
In the category of social systems, Division 1, the state winner with the project titled Knowledge is Power, Does the Exposure to Agriculture Impact Students' View on Animal Welfare? From the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Shay Faith. Shay surveyed the students at KMS to determine the number of agricultural classes and living on a farm and how they impact animal welfare. Congratulations, Shay. Division 3 in third place, from the Academy for Sciences and Agriculture FFA chapter, Nathaniel Bauer. In second place, from the Kirkhoven-Murdoch-Sunburg FFA chapter, Brody Forsill. The state winner with the project titled How to Get Children Intrigued About Vegetables, from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Jacqueline Lunick. The research looked at how to increase children's consumption of vegetables through agricultural literacy. Congratulations, Jacqueline. Division 5, in second place, from the Fertile Beltrami FFA chapter, Keely Macon. The state winner with the project titled The Study of Consumers' Attitudes Towards Dairy Milk and Non-Dairy Milk Alternatives, from the Academy for Sciences and Agricultural FFA chapter, Paige Stuber. This research evaluated consumers' preferences towards dairy milk and non-dairy milk alternatives by surveying individuals on their opinions regarding labeling and marketing of plant-based milk alternatives. Congratulations, Paige. Congratulations to these students. Congratulations to these students and their first place recipients who will be advancing to nationals.
Agriscience has given us some pretty awesome technology over the years. I'm sure glad these students have aspired to be innovators and inventors in their areas. This morning, we celebrated the accomplishments of our Agriscience Fair winners and heard inspiring messages from Dr. Dean Boer and our state sentinel, James Mathewitz. To review all of these results and our upcoming schedule, please download the convention app. In life, everything moves forward. Whether it's innovations in music or technology in agriculture, we can be a catalyst for progress. No matter what you aspire to make improvements, to challenge yourself and others, and to always keep moving forward. I'd now like to invite President Taylor back to the podium to finish with closing ceremonies.
Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
The sixth and final session will begin at noon in Mariucci Arena.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn the 5th General Session of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. FFA members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Minnesota FFA Live's post show brought to you by your Minnesota FFA Foundation with sponsorship from Enbridge. We just finished the 5th general session here on the St. Paul campus. I'm Morgan Krost.
And I'm Sam Johnson. It was really awesome to kind of see what students were doing here at this past session. You know, we were able to highlight those individuals who had Agriscience awards and kind of see some of those science projects that are really going to revolutionize the future of agriculture, and hear from University of Minnesota faculty and then also some sponsors as well, all wrapping up again with James's retiring address, which was an awesome message for our students to hear. So it was a full morning here, and it was one with a lot of excitement too.
It really was. I mean, we're on the last day of convention, so I can tell everyone's tired, but it's like an excited tired, you know? And I think we're just ramping up for that last session. But we have an FFA member who's just as excited to be here with us. Mr. Corbin, from what chapter are you from?
I'm from the Mora chapter.
Mora chapter. So, what is your role here at convention?
My role here at convention is I applied to be a state ambassador, which is we work with the sponsors. We go to the banquet up at the Mariucci Arena. It's a fun experience, and I feel every FFA member should try it at least once. It's a really fun experience. All you have to do is apply, and hopefully you get chosen.
So you mentioned you're working with sponsors a little bit on behalf of the foundation. You know, what are you kind of talking about with the sponsors? What are they wanting to hear from members like you?
Well, basically, we've just been asking questions about them, like how they grew up, and if they were involved in FFA as a kid, or 4-H. So we kind of just been, you know, going up, shaking their hand, talking to them, and telling them a little bit about ourselves along the way too.
That sounds like a really fun experience. What made you want to be a foundation ambassador?
I just thought it would be a fun experience, and my advisor, Jennifer McCulley, said it would be a really fun experience, and my older brother, Zach, he did it the year prior to this, and he said it was a really fun experience, so yeah.
Awesome. I mean, so you're talking with sponsors and asking them about themselves, but what about you? Kind of what has your involvement in FFA looked like thus far?
I joined FFA in 7th grade, and that following year I became a chapter officer because we kind of have a small chapter. So yeah, and it's been a really fun experience so far. I've competed in general livestock, job interview, and I plan to compete in more CDs and, you know, hopefully one day maybe become a region officer or state officer maybe.
Awesome.
That's awesome to have those goals and starting off, which is a great experience with the foundation. What has been your favorite part of FFA?
My favorite part of FFA has probably been the people I've met and the people I've worked with. My fellow chapter mates, I suppose you call them. They're a really good group of kids, and that's probably my favorite part is just hanging out with them, the hotel and stuff.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting to kind of hear everyone's different perspective on their favorite part there. And your experience here at convention has been a little bit different. So kind of what has been your favorite experience or even favorite moment here at convention?
My favorite moment here at convention, actually I have two. One at convention and then one at the hotel. At the hotel, climbing up the water slide, that's really fun. And then here at convention is we took a class on how to like introduce yourself to people and how to learn their backstory and, you know, get their full side of things. Yeah.
As a foundation ambassador, you get to see more behind the scenes work of how convention is possible. What are your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, before I thought it was just, you know, you come to the sessions and the officers put it on, but to be honest, I didn't even know there was an FFA foundation until I became a state ambassador. It's a really cool experience. The sponsor and the sponsorships, we're so lucky to have all the sponsors and so grateful. It's a lot of behind the scenes work that now that I figured out. They said every member would have to pay $60 if it wouldn't be for the sponsor, but we only have to pay $16, I think it is. So it's a really big, you know, help from the sponsors, and I just would like to thank them so much.
Yeah, I mean, those sponsors and supporters are so important to what we do here with the FFA. Kind of, who are some of those people that you've been interacting with? What are those sponsors, and kind of what do they do to support the FFA?
Some of them donate money, like the CHFS Foundation. I'm pretty sure they donate money, and then we help them too with the Miracle of Birth Center. It's just a really fun experience, and you don't have to donate money. You can donate labor too, or labor or just energy in general to the FFA, and then they get recognized at the session last night. So yeah.
So it's the last day of convention here. What, as a foundation ambassador, do you have left?
After this, I have to go over to the Mariucci, and I go up to the club level room again and meet with the sponsors again. Kind of just give them like a thank you and everything for everything you've done for us this year, and hope they come back next year.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you sharing that story as an FFA member going through the process right now, and really interesting. I know the sponsors, I'm sure, support hearing it from you rather than from an adult, because you're the one living it. So we just thank you for your time serving as a foundation ambassador and really kind of building that relationship with the sponsors there. And thank you for joining us here on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so fun to see the work that the foundation ambassadors are doing to help make, just the convention that much more special for the people that are here.
Right. I mean, there's so much that goes into it to put on something like this, and even just to put on the FFA programs that go out, and really the sponsors and supporters of the foundation kind of do a lot to help with that. And it's really kind of just cool to see that it doesn't even have to be an agriculture company. It can be anyone. I mean, we have energy companies, we have ag, we have finance that are really all know the supportiveness that is important to the FFA program.
That is very true. There's, just kind of this, we talk about it so much, and you've heard, our viewers have heard that people coming on just keep saying, like, the people in the FFA that are making this special connection, making this convention special, and it's really unlike any other kind of group of people I've ever been around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so unique to see that, and they all talk about the people, but they also have a different reason on why it's the people, whether it's the skills they develop or the ability to interact with each other, or even the awesome things that they might be doing as an FFA member. And we actually have one of those FFA members joining us here as our second guest on the show, who actually went above and beyond normal FFA experience and became a star last night at our big session. So we're happy to welcome Morgan here with us today. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of about your experience here in FFA.
All right, so I guess we'll start with, I work at my family's business, and that's what I've been doing since I was 9 or 10 years old. And really, I've been focusing on all the feed production because that's what I've kind of grown up around, and that's what I like to do, and it has a spark, Yeah. There's something about it. You just get excited about what you're doing. And there's definitely all the other aspects are awesome, too. It's just kind of seasonal, you know how that goes. And I really enjoy FFA's kind of help push me along, and I like the whole star award. That was huge for me, and that really a huge accomplishment.
It really is. So for our viewers, the STAR program really is applying for your state degree within your specific proficiency category or whatnot, and they select one person from each region. So there was 8 finalists. And what was the area that you were a finalist in?
For the proficiency?
For your STAR.
For your STAR, in ag business.
In ag business. And
Yep.
so you're on stage. They're going through the videos, playing about, your setting and all the other finalists. And then finally, there's thousands of people watching, there's people cheering, the lights are shining in your eyes, and then they call your name. I mean, what was that moment like?
Really, your heart kind of just skips a beat because you're so amazed that it's actually you, and you just feel so accomplished that all the stuff you worked for, that you finally, that you got it, and you were the one who, I don't know, did the best, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned it was working on your family farm and start an egg business. So kind of what was the section of the farm that you kind of worked on for your project? Was it the finances? Was it the management side of things? Kind of what did that look like in your application there?
more management. Our feed mill, that's kind of me and one other guy when I'm not in school kind of running that. And recently he's been diagnosed with Crohn's disease so the last 3 weeks I've done 80-hour weeks on top of school doing that, and that's tough, managing a couple other people and managing yourself and being able to do now springtime stuff. You got to run late, but that's management is kind of what I've been taking care of up there.
So how has this experience that you've had helped with your future plans?
I think it'll help tremendously. Being able to learn these management skills at a young age, you should be a lot better off later on in life, 10, 20 years down the road.
So what are your future plans? What are you looking at here in the next couple months?
I thought about going down south on a custom harvest crew this summer and coming back, but I think I'll just probably stay up here and work for Dad and then attend Wapaton this fall for, I think, ag business is what I'll major in. And then I'll come back and hopefully kind of get myself worked into that a little more and eventually take it over.
That's really exciting. Well, we know that you got to be in the spotlight last night, but it takes a team to get you there. Are there any people who helped you along the way?
There was a couple close family friends that wrote some recommendation letters for me, and my FFA advisor, of course. And the parents, they were always like, they were on your back if you weren't getting stuff done, of course. And our superintendent, he's amazing. He does a lot of stuff for us up there, and it's really cool. Helps out a lot.
I mean, it's awesome just to kind of see the program that you developed over your years and kind of really what it's put into. I know I watched the video last night and just kind of being able to see exactly how you not only stayed in one thing, but you progressed and went into many different parts of the farm there. So it's really awesome to see that. And again, congratulations on such an awesome award. And,
Thank you.
And we're really excited to highlight what you did here on the show today.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Wish you best of luck in the future. Excited to see where all this heads for you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Sam, I mean, we just got to talk to another incredible FFA member. And in the next session coming up that starts at noon, we're going to see even more great FFA members doing incredible things.
I mean, that 3M Mariucci Arena is going to be packed yet again with thousands of people just to highlight those students who have worked so hard the past year for the career development events, leadership development events, and then hear from Grace Taylor, president of Minnesota FFA right now in her retiring address. And then, the big moment of the day is announcing our 2019-2020 Minnesota FFA state officers at the end of the program. We got a jam-packed afternoon headed for us. It's really exciting to see that happen.
It is really exciting. So you can join us back for the live show starting at 11:30 that will head into the final session of the 90th Minnesota FFA Convention. We'll see you later.